Fight fans, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and this is my surprise late night chat. What's up, people? We got some people on here already. I salute you guys. Counterpunch to you guys. Hit that like button when you come on. That alerts YouTube to do their thing. And man, I've been watching a lot of old school boxing. I've been watching a lot of interviews, and it's mostly the normal, usual suspects. You got Canelo fighting Belonga. You got a possible rematch with Terrence Crawford and Madrimov, or they're pushing the Crawford Ortiz fight. And the crazy thing is about a Crawford Ortiz fight. I've been hearing a lot of channels, man, talk about what's up, Skrilla 50 in the building. Talk about like a lot of Ortiz versus Crawford, and Ortiz will beat Crawford. I'll tell you guys this straight off the press. If Victor Ortiz beats Terrence Crawford, what that means is Crawford has missed a step, because there's no way I see Terrence Crawford losing to Virgil Ortiz, man. I just don't see it. I don't see Terrence Crawford losing to Virgil Ortiz. I don't see that for nothing. Yeah, I don't see that, man. I'm sorry. I just don't see that type of I don't see it going down that way. I think that yeah, there you go. That's better. Matter of fact, let's get into the light. Step into the light. Let's see if I can get a little bit more. There we go. That's better, guys? There we go. Whoever said that needs to be drug tested. Well, I've heard a lot of channels say Punch Drunk said that. Punch Drunk had a video that I just recently seen. He was like, well, he talk real fast. He's funny though, man. But he talks fast as shit. You know. Terrence Crawford going in there, boy. He gonna go in there against Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz gonna go in there and whoop him. He gonna get. Hold up. Is he gonna stop his train? He gonna stop his train, y'all. Ooh, child. And I'm sitting there like, nah, hell no. But it's the type of fight I would love to see, just to see people shut up. Because a lot of people don't like Terrence Crawford. I really don't know why people don't like him. I'll go as far as this. I've heard people say that, like, people would say things about Terrence Crawford that was just, I don't really get it. I don't really get why they don't like Terrence. I mean, the man's been undefeated. He's never been beaten. His last fight, he hasn't had a knockout. Was it impressive? It wasn't very impressive to me. Did he rally enough to win the fight? Yeah, because Madrimov, when Terrence Crawford came on, Madrimov still stayed the same pace. So, normally when, like, let's say round 10, for example, Terrence Crawford, man, he was told, like, hey, man, because Bomac told him, like, hey, man, you need to do something. Damn the boxing ain't working. And then that's when Terrence was like, okay, he did the Sean Porter reprise, but he didn't really get the outcome that he got with Sean Porter. But see, Sean Porter is no Madrimov, and Madrimov's no Sean Porter. Okay. Crawford put on an excellent performance against a gold medalist. Well, here's the deal. Terrence Crawford just showed that he can hit another gear and then another gear. I don't know if it was his last gear, but I know he was able to say, you know what, let me get off my ass and do more than what I was doing. Okay, so that is that. Hey, Kurt, how are you been? CC Motion 1998 in the building. I'm pretty good, man. I'm maintaining. People don't get a legitimate reason to hate Crawford. Don't have a legitimate reason to hate Crawford. No, but I think people make one up, and I think what it is, people can't fathom the idea of liking one person and liking another fighter. Like you can only like one fighter. And if you like one fighter, that's the only fighter you gotta like. And if you don't like, you can't like both people. That's almost like when, like back in the day, you either like Evander Holyfield or Mike Tyson, or Lennox Lewis or Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? You couldn't like both fighters. And it's like, yo, you gotta pick a side. And I never really understood that because I have and know attributes of all people. Even though you know you're gonna get your ass whooped, you still know what's up. Like I admire fights like when De La Hoya fought Arturo Gotti. I knew Gotti wasn't gonna beat De La Hoya. He just did not have. He's not a golden Olympian. He ain't like that. De La Hoya's bigger, probably faster and hits harder and everything. You know what I mean? But that didn't stop me from loving the way Arturo Gotti loves to get it in there and throw left hooks, and you know what I mean. Crawford Charlo is a dangerous fight for both fighters. Mastermind 1996. That's the fight that should happen. See, Jermel's taking a break, hanging out with his whoever. I was about to say Jamal, but understand this. He's made some M's. See, Jermel Charlo's made some M's. And for those PBC fighters over there, they're not accustomed to making all that damn money. You know what I mean? Like guys like, if you notice, guys like Caleb Plant, Jermel Charlo, who else? Who else recently made some money fighting on PBC? And it was all really because of Canelo, because Canelo was that ticket. Andy Ruiz is one of them too. You know, when those guys get paid, they show who they really truly are. The only person I really give credit for is really Caleb Plant, because Caleb Plant was one of the only fighters that got paid that Canelo money and didn't just run off and get fat and start getting drunk and get on drugs and beat up his wife and all that kind of mess. You know what I mean? He didn't get in. He didn't follow into that line of destruction. Whereas Andy Ruiz, you didn't see that boy for 2 years. Jermel Charlo, we ain't seen him since. You know what I mean? So like those type of things happen, and it's like, okay, and it just shows you what's the true motivation of a lot of these fighters. Send the link, champ. What do you think about the new discovery about gay dinosaurs back then? I have no idea what you're talking about, bro. I have no idea what you're talking about. But no, man, I think people like to hate on Terrence Crawford. Man, I even heard, man, now this is a trip. I heard that um, I was on a podcast and I heard a person say, man, Terrence Crawford ain't liked because he's dark skinned. And I was like, okay, that's bullshit. Because if that's the case, what about Deontay Wilder? Deontay Wilder's a warmer skinned brother, right? So why, I know a lot of people don't like Wilder, but I know a lot of people did. Wilder was a pretty popular American heavyweight. In fact, he was the last popular American heavyweight. You know, I think that's better. What do you guys think? So, but no, man, I've just been watching a lot of old school fights. I seen Tyson and Francois Botha today. It was a trip, man. I broke my back. My back is broken. What do you mean? Spinal. Oh, Isaac in the building. How long have you been live? 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Not long. Not long at all, man. So I just got started. So I'm just seeing what everybody's doing, if they're up. I know I haven't went live in a couple days. You know, I don't know if you guys caught my last live, but me and my boy Javon Superman Miller, we've been talking boxing way before the channel was created. So that's like one of my stunt brothers. So we are like, we'll get to talking about boxing, and we'll have these discussions and debates about boxing. So I'm bringing them on next week, and we're going to have another debate about whatever, anything concerning boxing, right? Because when we talk boxing, it's just natural, and we just go and go and go. But yeah, he really enjoyed coming on here. I hope you guys enjoyed him on the channel. Let me make a poll. Magmadov is fighting this Saturday. Mark Madoff, huh? Yeah, Mark Madoff. Where is he fighting on? Patrick Dixon. What's up, Patrick, in the building? Mark Madoff. Yeah, where is he fighting, Isaac? Oh, Isaac in the building. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him come back because, like, he kind of came and went. Like, our Islamic Mark Madoff, he got caught a couple times, you know, and he pulled that Andy Ruiz, my arm or whatever was broken, my arm, my fist, my whatever. And he was out. But, I mean, that boy got busted up, though, man. He really got busted up. I mean, no joke. I mean, Caballero went in and broke that guy down. As a matter of fact, I'm going to watch that fight when I come in. But it was some beautiful work by Caballero. Caballero really showed that he has good footwork, very underrated boxer. He used his size as, you know, because everybody just thought, dude, this dude is going to kill Caballero. Because Caballero, though, believe it or not, was once upon a time the opponent for Tyson Fury when the contract of Tyson Fury Wilder expired for the third fight, if you guys can remember. Oh, that I don't know, but he did a recent interview and I heard about it. Oh, he's probably on some other thing. I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up. Lion's Opinion. Good morning, Curtis. 426 here in the UK. Counterpunch to you. Yeah, man. I know it's early, so I should have put late night, early morning. Because, you know, I know like a lot of people from the UK support the channel. In fact, it's the biggest audience that I have. So shout out to you guys. You know, thousands everywhere around the world. So thank you. Right? But yeah, back to Terrence Crawford, man. I think Virgil Ortiz is a fight that should be made. But I did like what his trainer said. Robert Garcia said, well, if we can't get that fight, we're going to fight Barachuck again. You know? But I think that'll be a different fight this time because I think Virgil will do more or have more of a better game plan instead of just go in and rush in into attack, because doing that with someone naturally bigger than you is dangerous. It will always be dangerous. Always. Hello, Kurt. Bivol versus Beterbiev. Who you got? Auntie. I still have Beterbiev, man. I just don't think that Bivol. Now, I could be wrong, but this is just my opinion. I just don't think Bivol will have the punching power to keep Beterbiev where he needs to be in order to be successful in winning a fight. Because one thing about Beterbiev, he will stalk you and he will come in. I look at Bivol as a leopard. I look at Beterbiev. No, I said that fucking wrong. I look at Bivol as a cheetah. I look at Beterbiev as a leopard. So I don't think that's the case. From Virgil's last fight, I think Tim Tszyu is more dynamic and a bigger puncher than him. I mean, Isaac, I think that he should be. He's naturally bigger. You know, he's bigger, he's stronger. Yeah, I think he hits harder too. You know what I mean? And I think guys like Virgil Ortiz, first of all, give Virgil Ortiz props for moving up, man. Ace 99. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Big up to you. So let's give him props. Because I mean, a lot of these guys, you know, I'm still waiting for Tank to say, hey, because it's either fight Lomachenko, fight Stevenson. Who else is there at 135? Because see, after those fights happen, there will be no desire or nobody for Tank to fight. So I'm still looking for these guys to test themselves. That's why I missed the era of Floyd and Manny. Because Floyd and Manny did similar stuff. Even though Floyd hated on Manny, they still did similar things in their career. They were smaller guys. Manny was smaller, to be fair, but they all came about at 125 to 126 to 130 to 135 to 140 to 147 to 154. Okay, so these guys, when I see someone that does that, that's what I'm going to respect. But I haven't seen any fighter do that. The last person that I've seen that has came from a smaller weight class that moved up was Terrence Crawford. And he started at 135. So 135, 140, 147. Now he's at 154. Now he's talking about going to 168. So yeah, that's why I respect the guy, because he's doing what champions and legends do to become champions or legends, to become Hall of Famers, to become those recognized names that stick out in the fabric of time. In 10 years from now, right, when I'm in my 50s, right, I can look back and we can look back still with the channel intact, bars, and say, who was the best 10 years ago? Terrence Crawford. Why? Because Terrence Crawford was the guy that dared to be great. Terrence Crawford was one of those last of the Mohicans. Terrence Crawford was one of those guys that tested himself against bigger dudes, even though he wasn't the biggest guy. Hell, he's a smaller guy. He still showed people what was up. He still showed them he was tough, he was mean, and he had a very underrated punch until you got in there and got hit with him or by him. No worries, bro. We get you all the way from the UK. Counterpunch to you. Tank needs to go wipe out 140. I think his guys at 135 are legit scared to fight him at the moment. Lomachenko's just old to me. I don't see the appeal in a fight like that. Not saying I wouldn't want to see it. It's just, I'm not dying for it. I just know one thing about Tank versus Lomachenko, which won't happen, is that fight is overdue. Now the masses will try to make you believe that, hey, you know what? This is the fight we want. No. Fight someone like Stevenson. Fight someone like that. Loma versus Tank lost its luster. Yeah, it lost its luster a long time ago. See, that's what people don't understand, man. That fight with Lomachenko and Tank, Tank could have got his stripes if Floyd wasn't too chicken shit to make money off of him because he was afraid he would lose. See, Floyd lived vicariously through Tank. Tank did not have his say-so with anything. Not with his career, really not even what to say. And even when he said something, he wasn't even man enough or got or had the confidence, let's put it this way, to keep what he said on Twitter. If you notice what Tank did, Tank used to post shit on Twitter, make little subliminal comments, and then later delete it. You know what I mean? But by that time, come on, bro. The year of the screenshot, whoever created a screenshot image or feature, they should be billionaires because everybody uses that. And then that's a way that you can never, I mean ever, make something go away off the internet. Screenshot it and repost it. So so when something you think you've deleted from the internet is never really gone. Because all someone's going to do is screenshot that image, and repost it somewhere else later on. Crawford versus Bivol. Crawford versus Bivol. Listen. Look, everybody got a limit. And you guys know I'm a Terrence Crawford fan, of course, but bro. Bivol versus, and then here's the thing. Terrence Crawford versus Bivol. You got a guy bigger than you, probably faster than you. I don't know. I don't think that that's a good I don't think that that's a good fight for Terrence Crawford, because a guy like Bivol, he's capable of boxing you, but he's like a power boxer. He's like a boxer that comes in and out. Now, could Terrence catch him? Sure. But could Terrence punch move to 175? Because, you have to assume they're fighting at the champion's weight, right? Who's the champion? The champion is Bivol. We're talking about Bivol versus Crawford. So we're talking about the WBA 154-pound stand-in champion of Terrence Crawford versus the 175-pound WBA champion at light heavyweight. No. That is, think about it, 155 to 175. That's 19 pounds. So you want this man to come up 20 pounds to fight Bivol. Now, Bivol is not a power puncher, but I bet you he'll hit enough to get Terrence's attention. He did it with Canelo. Think about it. Bivol hit Canelo, beep, 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 beep. He hit this man with punches and bunches. Was Canelo necessarily hurt? No, but he was definitely distracted from doing the shit that he normally does. See, Canelo gets in there and breaks you down and punches you all in the arms and shoulders and throws these bolo punches to you and and just pretty much breaks your will because he's a short, sturdy Wolverine-built bastard, right? He couldn't do that with Bivol because Bivol was too slick. His footwork was too bad. He was too quick. You know what I mean? Do you still think Crawford beats Canelo after the Madrimov fight? I think he can outbox Canelo. The question is, see, what we need to understand about smaller guys moving up, the knockouts are going to stop. So one thing we've seen as a sneak preview of what could possibly happen with Terrence Crawford could beat these guys, but what we won't see what he did at 147. Now, can he stop anybody at 154? Yeah, I think so. I just think Madrimov was just tough enough to withstand the punches from a guy coming up. But he also knew, oh shit, he can also punch. Don't you think there's a reason why Madrimov didn't open up like he did with other fights? Think about that counterpunch. Here's another counterpunch. When we seen Terrence Crawford outbox these guys, he didn't stop Bivol. What's his name at 140 that he fought? That made La Máquina Matisse quit. I forget his name right now. It's fleeting me. But no, I think he could outbox Canelo. But here's the thing. A fight like that now, seeing what we see, Canelo Alvarez catching Crawford, hurting Crawford, knocking out Crawford, would probably be something that Canelo would need to do to win a fight, you know, especially if it's in Saudi Arabia, you know, because we could always see one of those Ennis, those Lara versus Canelo fights where it's contentious and everybody thinks, nah, man, Canelo landed better shots. Nah, man, Terrence landed most shots. So we'll probably get something like that. And, you know, we'll be arguing over that the next 10 years. Because believe it or not, people, Lara fought Canelo 10 years ago. And people are still talking about that damn fight. So it'd probably be a fight like that. If you heard Canelo say, I don't like these type of fights, a guy that moves around and shit like that, because he can't set traps easily. And that exposes his lack of footwork. It exposes his lack of cutting off the ring, his lack of anticipation, his lack of aggression. See, Canelo Alvarez is slick when you're jabbing at him in right hands and throwing left hooks because he's able to get on there and slip, move, dodge it, you know, parry and dip back. But if someone's constantly moving, he has to stay with them. He has to stay with their rhythm in order to catch them. He's not good at doing that. He's not even a Rocky Marciano. We see, if you guys look at fights like that with Floyd, when Floyd decided to move back and move out of range, he missed terribly. And since Lara fought him from the outside, when he tried to come in with big shots, he missed terribly. So no, he doesn't like fighting guys like that, that's able to box and move and use footwork and able to move around that ring and catch him whenever he wants to and then slip out of sight. No, that's not a good fight for Canelo Alvarez. And if you're a Canelo Alvarez fan, why would you want to fight like that? You wouldn't. You want to fight, if you're a Canelo fan, you want to fight to make Canelo looks good. You want him to look good. You don't want him to look like a fool, or you don't want it to be a lackluster to make him look like he's mediocre. That's the whole idea of being a fan of a lot of people, because people don't really want their favorite fighter tested. They don't want their favorite fighter looking bad. They don't want their favorite fighter getting challenged to a point that they look ordinary or beatable. Okay, that's just the mind of people. I want people challenged. You know, I like the Jose Benavidez fight for Crawford, because I know Jose Benavidez challenged Crawford. Did he get under Crawford's skin? You damn right he did. You bet he did. Shakur will never fight Tank. He will find a way out. He knows better. We'll see. Do you still think Crawford beats Canelo? All right, we already did that. Boxing needs Canelo Benavidez. You know, I don't think that they really do. I don't think boxing needs David Benavidez and Canelo. I don't think that, because I think people needs to they need to stop with the, hey, Canelo needs to fight this guy or that guy. I think this is what should happen. I think David should stay where the hell he's at 175, stay at 175, and fight and make his legacy at 175. Because believe it or not, people, there's a lot of good fights for him. You know, see, at 168, David Benavidez pretty much outgrew it. That's the only thing that he could really do at 168 was fight Canelo. Canelo didn't want to fight him because Canelo can do whatever he wants. I'm not mad about that, you know, because I'm not going to lose sleep over anybody that wants to do what they want or choose not to do something. Did he duck David Benavidez? You bet he did. He did, and he asked for a whole lot of money to fight someone 10 years younger than him. He did. He did. Someone bigger than him, younger. I don't know about stronger. I'm not going to say that, because there's different types of strength, okay? But did he duck David Benavidez? Yes. Okay, get over it. Where is he now? He's not at 168. He's at 175. Okay? That's where David's at. That's where David should stay. He should stay to prove himself that there, because him, like Terrence Crawford, went to another weight class and wasn't as dominant as they appeared in the weight class that they were dominant in. Okay? Why do they give Floyd Mayweather so much praise when he failed at least 43 drug tests and pay millions of dollars and had it covered up? What's your take on that? Patrick Dixon, I never heard of any of that. So I can't speak on any of that. Because I never heard Floyd, just like I never heard Manny fail any drug test. See, I stick with what has been reported. I don't stick with something that hasn't been reported, or something that I heard, or something that someone says that can't be proven. That's something, if someone says something about someone that you can take them to court, just like Manny did Floyd, I don't want to hear it, because it's not me worth reporting falsified news. This is Counterpunch boxing news, not Counterpunch faking news. Okay? So I don't know anything about that. Or Counterpunch maybe news. This is Counterpunch boxing news. Floyd ain't never failed no drug test. Lions opinion. Quick take. Artur Benavidez beats Bivol. Canelo loses to Benavidez. Vakoli beats Zhang. Chisora beats Wilder. AJ beats Dubois. Usyk beats Fury. White beats Miller. Tank KOs Loma. And Bivol beats Crawford. Man, that's a lot of fights. That is a lot of fights. I don't know where this Terrence Crawford versus Bivol comes from, because Bivol's at 175. Crawford just made it to 154. What are we trying to really do? Or what are we saying about Crawford? If we need to go up one more weight class, right, for Crawford, and we have to take Crawford to past 168, and he's not even at 170 or 60 yet, that's showing a lot about Terrence Crawford, that he is one bad mother sucker if we got to push him way to light heavyweight to see if he can get beat. How about something else? Well, he wanted to go to 168. Let's look at this. What's one way to make a fight? The question is, how do you make a fight with Canelo? You fight guys Canelo fought, right? I mean, that's what normally happens. That's what David Benavidez did. He fought Caleb Plant and, and stuff like that. And everybody compared the fight with Caleb Plant to their wins, like they're doing Terrence and Boots Ennis, right? So you compare these fights together. Since you compare these fights together, why don't we put Terrence Crawford with Caleb Plant? How about that? If Billy Joe comes back, put Crawford in there. They're all 168 pounders. Crawford was going to, anybody that Canelo fought, put Terrence Crawford in there and see what Terrence does with him. And see, at that point, you can no longer say, well, we ain't fought the same, or we haven't fought in the same weight class. See, that's what could happen. If they really wanted to do the right thing with Terrence, put him in there with somebody that Canelo's already fought and see what he can do with them. And see, at that point, if he goes in there stopping people at 168, there would be no reason for Canelo not to. And then what'll happen with Canelo would pretty much be shamed out of the business, because we already know he ducked David Benavidez. So if Terrence Crawford goes up there kicking ass, knocking people out, taking them down, dropping them, stopping them, and all that stuff, guess what? People are going to look at Canelo, because Canelo has nowhere else to go. He's not going to 175, because we all know who's up there. Bivol, the guy that beat his ass. You got Beterbiev, a monster, a killer. You got David Benavidez, the guy that he just ran from. He's not going to 175. He's going to have to stay at 168. They've already stripped him of the IBF belt. We already know that. Okay? Just did a video on that today. But Terrence Crawford's up there raging war on 168 pounders and stopping them. People are going, they can't help but compare, like, wait a minute. Canelo, man, you stopped him in 11th, but man, Crawford took that boy out in round 7. Floyd Mayweather film mini drug test with USADA. I don't know anything about that, man. What do you think about Benavidez versus Crawford? Benavidez is another 175 pounder. I feel the same way about Crawford Benavidez as I do about Crawford Bivol. You want a man to go up 20 pounds to fight him. I just think he's too small. Quick take. Okay, I already got that. There's only one true apex predator in boxing. Better Biev. Psycho Crusher, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Quick take. Artur Beterbiev beats Bivol. Canelo loses to Benavidez, but Coley beats him. All right, we got that one already. Counterpunch, do you think Floyd Mayweather should still go down as one of the greatest boxers, even though he cheated many years? Patrick, I don't know anything about the cheating, but I know he's already went down as one of the best boxers of all time. I know that much. Yeah, let's get those likes up. We got 41 people in here. We need 44 likes. Let's go. Benavidez needs to move on instead of chasing a dream. Well, I mean, that's what he's doing, right? Because, I mean, he should prepare himself to fight the winner out of the undisputed clash. He has an undisputed opportunity between two guys that never been defeated before at 175. That's something that he's never had at 168. Why? Because Canelo had all the damn belts. Turkey Alalshikh is blessing this boy with this opportunity. So if you guys are telling me now something that I don't know, and he's still trying to hang around at 168, he's going to get his head knocked off at 175 trying to straddle that fence. Or unless he just, and just copping out. And I'll tell you this, guys, if and I like David Benavidez, but if David Benavidez has not decided on staying at 175, I'm not saying if he did, but if he's thinking about staying at 168, I think this is the problem. That means he's not unsure about fighting at 175. And because he's unsure at fighting at 175, you can't get mad at Canelo for ducking him because he's ducking those guys. So David can't talk no more if he ducks and does the same thing that Canelo's doing. Period. Canelo's still like 4 years younger than Bud and more explosive punching. I see Canelo just stalking Bud around, throwing shots, hitting him everywhere on Bud because Canelo is used to getting hit by bigger men. Well, I don't think the bigger men will be a factor when you got Bud versus Canelo. Why? Because it's only Canelo and Bud in there. If they fight, it's only Canelo and Bud. It's not who Bud fought. It's not who Canelo fought. It's who's fighting that night. Bud versus Canelo will be a good fight, and we can see how good defensively each guy is. See, that's the battle of the undisputed champions. That's an undisputed, that's an undisputed fight. Though that's like all-time legendary fights. That's what that is. So who separates the men from the boys is who wins that damn fight. We can talk about how big Canelo fights these guys like Kovalev and Bivol. It doesn't matter because what is the kryptonite of Canelo Alvarez? Guys that can move. Lotto wasn't a big guy. He was 5'9". Floyd was 5'8". Those guys are his size or smaller. So it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter about the size. I think what foils Canelo is someone that can move, box, pure boxing ability, slick fighters, high ring IQ fighters that will give Canelo fits. Because what fits Canelo's style is people that come forward and give him what he wants. If you do not give Canelo what he wants, he will not be able to do what he normally does. Okay, that's just Canelo. I've been watching Canelo too long. If you stand in front of Canelo, he's gonna slip and duck your punches, move forward, right? And expect you to throw punches so he can set traps. Once he set traps, he catches you with the shots that he needs to catch you with because he's practiced them so many times and he's done it over and over again. But if you do not fall into that formation and do the same thing that those other fighters did, you will not get caught. Therefore, he will be frustrated. Benavidez needs to move on instead of chasing a dream. Canelo still like 4 years younger than Bud. I already got that one. Bacoli hits too hard, and yeah, Zhang is good, but Bacoli gasses him out and knocks him out cold. Just watch. Lion's opinion. You know, I can actually see that scenario going down. I can. Simply because Zhang, we all know Zhang ain't got a gas tank. He's old. He's an old, tough, hard-punching, strong Chinaman. Has a lot of experience, but that's what he is. He has a limited gas tank, and my prediction is the longer Zhang fights, the worse his stamina is going to be. I don't see Zhang all of a sudden getting stronger or getting better stamina. There might have been hope for him 10 years ago if he was slow and he didn't have good stamina, because that probably showed that maybe he needs to change his diet. Maybe he needs to get a strength and conditioning coach, which I think he has. I think he needs to get a better one of the ones that knows what he's low in deficiency on, someone that takes him somewhere like a hydration place, a wellness center, and tests what vitamins that he needs in his body that he's deficient on, and improving those, but naturally doing it, but I don't see him doing that at 41 years of age. 41 years of age versus someone that's 31 years of age with Martin Bacoli, the same size, probably equal hand speed. No, I think Martin Bacoli might get him unless Bacoli gets hurt and knocked out, and we've seen him knocked out. So, yeah, I can see what you're saying, but pretty much that's my prediction anyway. Zhang by knockout early or Martin Bacoli late, because I don't think Zhang will fold because he's just getting hurt. I think he's a tough guy, but I think fatigue makes cowards of men for a reason. He's not going to be able to stand that pressure, especially if Bacoli can keep throwing those shots. Ducked him like the whack a mole game. David Benavidez missed out on his big payday by coming in overweight when Canelo was belt hunting. Well, I don't think he was as focused. I think David Benavidez was getting high. I think he was partying too much. I think he was, not focused like he is. But you know what I mean? But I think people change. I think people grow up. I think David Benavidez has grew up since then. Counterpunch, please answer the question. I don't know what question you mean. I don't know what question you're talking about. What did you think of Pacquiao's exhibition fight? I didn't see it. I didn't see his exhibition fight. Look, beatable so you can draw him in. Charlo is right at 154 for Bud to fight. Vincent, that's a fight I want to see. Jermell Charlo versus Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford and Jermell Charlo were on a collision course to fight anyhow. You remember when he was slapping Errol Spence around the ring, Merge was stopping him. He told Jermell Charlo, "You next." Jermell Charlo ran up there and fought Canelo. And this is what I don't understand about Canelo, though, honestly. You don't want to fight. You brought Jermell Charlo from 154, and it was fine. Now Crawford's at 154. Now you say you won't get credit. Okay, if that's the case, you shouldn't get credit for Jermell Charlo either. There you go. Terrence Crawford would go ham, no lie. Yeah, I see him knocking out Jermell Charlo. I see him knocking him out. It would take a while to break down someone as big because he's not as big as Jermell. Jermell and Jamal, okay, they're big boys. They have good chins. And they hit hard. They're sturdy, durable fighters. Both of them. Jermell and Jamal. So one thing fighting Jermell and Jamal, understand something. Don't try to trade with any of those guys because they will knock you out. Lions only. You don't have to like them. I just understand their strengths. Their strengths, durability, good chins, technique, not as much. But they have heavy hands, both of them. Boots is a hype job. I don't know. Um, this is what I say about guys that are hype jobs. Damn train's loud, man. Plant versus Crawford is a weird matchup. Yeah, it is. But I mean, it's a weird matchup to talk about Bivol versus Terrence Crawford, or to talk about David Benavidez versus Terrence Crawford. I mean, that's just, like, what the hell are we talking about? We're talking about like a super welterweight taking on a light heavyweight. That's just like, why are we having these conversations? You know, Crawford is class. The Canelo fight would be good. Billy Joe Saunders in his prime would give Crawford fits. Saunders was lighting Canelo up until Canelo broke him like a like a papadom. Yeah? Canelo, man. But understand, the best I've ever seen Canelo was at 168. It was a perfect weight class for him. For his height, for his weight, for his punch, for his size. He has a durable chin anyway. He's very talented. He's very experienced because he's been in there with almost damn near everybody. Canelo and Tank is on His Excellency's bad list. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Pretty much. You know, but those guys are superstars in the Americas, and I think that it hasn't really hit them. That them talking shit about Turkey Alalshikh, they're leaving money on the table. A lot of it. You know what I mean? But arrogance is like that. It's almost like you got a job making $200,000 a year, and someone calls you, hey man, you want to take this job making $400,000 a year? And then you're already cocky because you're already making 200 grand a year. You might tell that dude something that he doesn't like and piss off the opportunity. I think that's what's happening. Vincent says, I promise Boots is not a hype job. Matter of fact, Tank's coach, Kenny, was just talking about Boots, saying how people don't know what he knows and who he already saw him whoop in gyms. Hey, I gotta see that, man. Crawford will give Canelo nightmares. Well, see, Crawford also knows how to fight. See, one thing about Lara and Canelo, Lara outboxed Canelo. Lara did not outfight Canelo. And I think when you're fighting and you're the underdog and you're the bridger fighter, you're in that bridger fight with the star. Canelo was the star, Lara was that challenger, which at the time, he was the WBA super welterweight championship, but it wasn't on the line. It was for pride and glory, not the belt. See, they fought at 155, okay? So since Canelo and Lara fought at 155, you know, Lara just showed, hey, I'm a better boxer than you. He didn't say I'm a better fighter. Crawford will show Canelo, I'm a better boxer and I know how to fight. See, you have to do more than just do what you normally do. That's what Madrimov did. He did what he normally did. He had a controlled fight. He had a controlled fight with Crawford. That's not good enough. You're going to have to do that above and beyond to beat stars. To make your name noticeable, you can't leave nothing to chance. You have to cross every T. You have to dot every I. Counterpunch. Bivol has a style something like Crawford. Something like it. I just think he's busier than Crawford. I think Crawford relies on certain subtle punches and holes in your defense so he can exploit. Then he pounces on you. Okay? Bivol is constantly you know what I mean? He never stops. He never stops. It's always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You're like, Jesus. This dude has threw 20 punches in the last 10 seconds. Bivol has a style something like Crawford. Ruiz versus Bacali. Ooh, Andy Ruiz versus Martin McCauley. I think that would retire. There's another train. I'm like, didn't that train leave? No, here's another one. I hate trains. I hate them. They're too loud. That reminds me of like hobos. You know, guys that jump trains to get to different places. It's like the glorified old school taxi in retrospect. Hey, screw going a plane. I'm gonna take a train. I'll never die. You know, I'll get there slower, but I'm gonna get there eventually. Boots will get found out about just like Anderson did. Oh, anyway, like I was saying, that really threw me off. Andy Ruiz would get retired by Martin McCauley. Unless Andy uses his height, and I mean get down low, stay away from those uppercuts, you know, because I don't know, man. I just see Martin McCauley destroying Ruiz because I think he hits harder than someone like Miller. Miller's not a hard-hitting guy. He's just one hell of a force coming at you. Tank was asked about Turkey, and he pretended like he had no idea who that was. Yeah, nah, look. Tank is no fool. Canelo's no fool. They know who the hell that is. This man has grabbed boxing, and for the last year and a half has taken boxing by storm. I mean, literally taken the sport of boxing, pulled it up, dusted off the roots, gave it some Nutrigrow, and replanted it, and now it's growing 3 times as strong as it ever was. That's what Turkey Alalshikh has done to boxing. Those guys like Tank, like Canelo, they're telling you that, and they're making those type of comments like, oh, I'm not focused on another fight. That's a bad way to make business. And Tank saying, oh, I don't even know who that is. You know damn well who it is. You were just talking about him. Talking about how the man should give you a car or some kind of prize for doing absolutely nothing. Doesn't work that way, kiddo. What happens is with Tank and Canelo, they know better because they know what's expected of a guy like Turkey Alalshikh, and they know there's no way that Turkey's going to give me all that fucking money to fight people that we've been fighting. Even though I think the Tank and Martin fight was a good fight. Very good fight. I think he was a good opponent. You know, I was actually surprised that Tank took that fight, so I can't rag on Tank too much, okay? You know, Canelo fought a guy in Munguia. It's Munguia, you know. What is Munguia like some kind of superstar? No. He's never really made a name for himself because Oscar De La Hoya couldn't get him the fights that he needed, and he wanted to be who he was. So that's it. You know, so Jaime Munguia really wasn't a desired opponent for Canelo because everybody still wanted to see another fight within David Benavidez. So no, Jaime Munguia really wouldn't get credit. The only way Jaime Munguia would get credit is he went and fought David Benavidez and beat David Benavidez and then fought Canelo. And then Canelo fought him, and then that would be worth a shit. But it was a good fight. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the rivalry, the reunion of Oscar De La Hoya versus Canelo Alvarez. You a fucking bitch, motherfucker, fucking bitch. You know, because, you know, and I don't know really, I don't understand the animosity that Canelo has towards Oscar. I understand Oscar's towards Canelo, but not Canelo and Oscar, because see, Oscar, you know, he had the cash cow. He messed up. He's bitter about it. I get it. I get why that's the case. I understand why he doesn't like it, because he knew he's missing out on that damn money, that back end money that he used to get from Canelo. He ain't getting that no more when Canelo flew the coop, right? That was asked about Turk. Okay, Boots and Anderson are not built from the same cloth at all. Boots comes from a family of boxers with good head on their shoulders. Anderson boxes for IG likes. Psycho Crusher. Don't know how much money Keyshawn Davis makes, but he said on a live stream with Ryan Garcia and Shakur that he still uses EBT. Is that the some kind of assistance, huh? Wow. Ruiz is one-hit wonder. He doesn't deserve those opportunities. Well, I'll put it this way about Andy. Andy kind of bought himself a little time. He's probably got one more fight. If he loses that fight, people are going to look at Andy's career like, you know what, Andy, it's time to wrap it up. They will look at him no different than they look at Deontay Wilder, because everybody knows that Jarrell Miller did enough to beat Andy Ruiz. People were booing Andy Ruiz. That's why he had to reveal that big-ass bone sticking out his hand, because he knew he had to dissolve the issue. Kurt makes a train with a volume control. It's a nighttime and you're sweating. Must be hot and humid. Dude, this is Louisiana. This is the summertime. You might as well be in the Caribbean. Same climate. This is subtropical. That's tropical. This is hot. Then we're under the lights too. But no, it's hot. It's still like 95 degrees, which, well, I'll give it about 92 degrees. You know, and I sweat anyway. I'm a sweater. I'm an athletic dude that likes to sweat. I think that's what keeps me alive, because I do have heavy sweat glands. You know, it's good for detox. I like to pick up a sweat, honestly. Take a nice shower, chill out afterwards, you know. Yeah, but it's good for you. Well, I mean, Ruiz only lost technically to AJ. Still, he got the talent and fan base. Well, no, he lost to Joseph Parker too. Saul in 8 and AJ in 7 parlay. Okay. Yeah, because Belonga didn't deserve that fight. Belonga should be fighting someone like Munguia. If you wanted a Mexican rivalry, why is everybody on Canelo's dick? Everybody wants to get paid. I mean, shout out to Eddie for doing his job for Belonga, but Belonga needed to fight Jaime Munguia, not Canelo Alvarez. You know, so I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that's the case at all. Did you see the fruity mother-ucker Oscar De La Hoya on Shannon Sharp's podcast? Oscar trying to blame fishnets and high heels on women. LOL. Damn, Oscar, you are officially in the mud. Okay, let's say this. Let's do this. All right. I'm not going to come down on Oscar like that. I'm not going to do that, because Oscar De La Hoya, look, that was weird. It was weird. I mean, he's going to, look, Oscar's going to always, I repeat, always going to have to defend that he's never going to live that down. And people are going to ask him, what was up with you? He should just tell them that cocaine's a hell of a drug. That's the only thing that he could really tell them. Cocaine is a hell of a drug, because just say, man, I was high and I didn't know what I was doing. And leave it at that. Because the more he talks about, oh, it was the women. No, listen, if you guys seen Oscar De La Hoya's The Golden Boy, if you seen that, okay, he explained, like, listen, that was not photoshopped. You know, the woman that took the pictures, she said it herself, like, well, he likes to express himself, you know, and it was real private stuff, though. You know, I mean, I like, you know, I mean, I can't relate to it, but at the same time, I don't want to. So, I mean, Oscar needs to leave it alone. He has 5 kids. He likes women. And he likes wearing dresses and fishnets too. He likes that. I think of Oscar De La Hoya somewhere like I would think of someone like, not even Prince, because I don't think Prince put on pantyhose. But still, it was androgynous. If this was in the 80s, nobody would care, right? I see Canelo. No, shout out Hammond and Baton Rouge. Didn't know you were in the boot. Oh, DeMarcus Hill, absolutely, man. I'm in a town called Mansfield, so it's south of like Shreveport and all that, where 50 had the big, had 100,000 people that came into the city. It was big. It was big here. I enjoyed it. And look, we had no shootings. We had no shootings, no killings. We had none of that in the city. So yeah, big up for Shreveport, man. Belonga needs to fight Benavidez. No, Benavidez needs to stay in his weight class. Okay, he needs to stay in his weight class. He shouldn't be fighting guys at 168. 168 is a wrap. It's over for him. He needs to stay at 175 because believe you people, we won't be talking about David Benavidez versus anybody else any longer once he gets in there and fights Bivol or Beterbiev. The minute he fights one of those guys, I predict him to lose. He's going to lose to one of those guys. And I think any of those guys would beat David Benavidez. I just think that. I don't think that he, based on what I saw with Volsnik, I don't think that he will do those type of, that fight him. And he's a great fighter. But I don't think I don't think his punches are imposing enough. And the pressure that he puts, since his punches are not imposing enough, I don't think that he has what it takes to be at 175. I think he's good enough to compete, but I don't think he's good enough to beat everyone there. If that makes sense with anybody. He'd lose to both of those guys. Skrilla 50, that's what I'm saying. He would lose to both. Look, I think, this is what I really think. I think that David Benavidez, so he fought Volsnik, which was a former champion. So, I mean, that's a pretty good barometer. He beat Volsnik. He did. He did what he's supposed to do. But then, at the same token, once you get with the current champions, I still would feel more comfortable if David would have fought someone else. I don't think he's truly, fully acclimated to 175. You're going to see that. Matchroom Safe Boxing, we should start giving Eddie his flowers. Well, Eddie's doing what Eddie has to do. Eddie's been up and down. I mean, think about this time 5 years ago. Think where Eddie was. Eddie was dealing with his cash cow, Anthony Joshua, being knocked out by a fat guy from California. He had to deal with that type of stuff. Oh, yeah. He had to deal with that whole reality of the unified, highly decorated, golden Olympian, Anthony Joshua, world-renowned, highly anticipated American intro, getting beat by a 6-foot-tall Mexican that loves Snickers and loves to eat. John Belushi, but in Mexican form, gets torn apart, knocked down 4 times. Okay? That's what he had to deal with. So yeah, he's had his ups and downs. Who did better in their moving up debut, Crawford or David? That's a good point. That's a very good point. You know what? I think that would be a good question. We should make another poll. Okay. So let me look at this poll real quick. How many of you enjoyed Javon Superman Miller? 57% I said I did, and then 44% said I did not. Now, for these people that did vote, did you guys see the live stream? T.O. was asked to fight Rayo, but he said no, even though Pitbull doesn't want to use his rematch. Well, I remember Rayo. Rayo did a good job. He beat Pitbull too. So Pitbull lost. Andy Cruz looked basic, Cuban guy and everything. Cuban blood, el cubano en el casa. But I don't think so. I don't think that, honestly, I just don't think, honestly, T.O. wants those fights because someone like Rayo would give him problems, just like someone like Sando Martin would give him problems. Yeah, I think David Benavidez looked better. Yeah, you know, because Volsnik had his moments. You know what I mean? You got two Americans fighting two Eastern Europeaners. So, you know, two tough guys, man. Volsnik, former champion. Madrimov, current champion at the time. Once beaten Volsnik, undefeated Madrimov. So, Javon is cool as hell and he knows his boxing. Very enjoyable. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Jared Anderson comes back for... Jared Anderson comes back fight should be against Cuban heavyweight. That Cuban heavyweight. What Cuban heavyweight? Later rounds, David was getting pieced up. Later rounds, I think David was fading, to be honest. You know, so that's why I kind of paused and thought about, like, I don't know if, did Crawford do? But, you know, David Benavidez' style is so impressive. So it might have been, Terrence Crawford has this style bender-like style. You know, it's like he's like, be like the nature of water. Right? But then David's this smash 'em, bash 'em, combination, rapid fire like fighter that's very exciting. You know what I mean? And see, by default, I just think David has a better looking style. It's more appealing. It's more entertaining. Unless Crawford takes you out, you're just looking at a guy that's putting something together and you really don't understand it because he's the mind of a genius. You know, but David, he's showing you, and you see everything that he's doing round for round. That's why Mike Tyson calls him the Mexican monster, right? Oh, Frank Sanchez. You know what? That would be a good fight. And see, Turkey could put that together. Why? Because Frank just lost and Anderson just lost. Now, who's to say Frank now is on a different level than Anderson? You can't, because Frank's taken an L, but so is Jared Anderson. So I think Frank should show that, hey, I'm steps above you. I'm still steps above you by getting his ass in the ring and fighting Jared Anderson. That would be a good fight because both of those guys are about the same height, 6'4". Yeah, because I'm 6'2". Frank's like 6'4". Yeah, he's taller than me. So Frank's like right here. He's like, yeah. So he's like right here. I think we should forget his name, Cuban, who fought Caballero. Yeah, Frank Sanchez. Good point. Good point. Great point. Frank Sanchez, next opponent should be Jared Anderson. After Jared Anderson, because he's not a huge, strong, Frankenstein-looking motherfucker like McCauley. McCauley was just a big-ass Frankenstein, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, a big Frankenstein boxer from hell. I think we should cut Benavidez some slack. That was just the first fight at 175, so he wasn't great. I think he has a chance of beating Bivol, not Beterbiev. Well, see, I understand that because Bivol is not the guy that gives you that type of danger due to his punching power. But I think it'll be a good fight because Bivol knows. Okay, here's the thing. Me personally, I want to see both of them fights. I want to see Bivol versus I want to see Bivol versus Benavidez, and I want to see Beterbiev versus Benavidez. I want to see both of those fights. That's my only problem. I hate this mix 'em winner take all shit because we don't get to see who would win out of the guys that lost. Give you an example. Days of Reckoning was what? We had Daniel Dubois versus Jarrell Miller. We had Arslanbek Markmadov versus Aget Caballero. We had Otto Wylene versus Anthony Joshua. We had Joseph Parker versus Deontay Wilder. So we had 8 fights. What other possibilities of fights could we saw? We could have seen Wilder versus Otto Wylene versus Jarrell Miller versus I get Caballel versus Otto Wylene. I get Caballel versus Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua versus Jarrell Miller. You see what I mean? We've seen Parker versus Joshua, and we will see Dubois versus Joshua. But it wasn't because of how those fights were mixed. The tournament kind of ended, but then it began it again. Then remember Filip Hrgovic? We could have had Hrgovic versus Arslanbek Markmadov. You know what I mean? We could have seen so many different fights that night, that those fights can create excitement. And I think Turki Alalshikh should take those pool of guys, all from Knockout Chaos, all from Days of Reckoning, and I think he should put them in a pile and reuse those guys to redeem themselves so we can get the fights that we should see and enjoy. Because believe it or not, Terence Crawford versus Madrimov was not the most exciting fight on the tape. The most exciting fight to me was Andy Ruiz versus Jarrell Miller. That was the fight that did it for me. I think we should cut, okay. But look, I think the same way you talk about David Benavidez is the same way that we should talk about Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford's never fought at 154. So in that instance, we need to, in that aspect, we need to say the same thing about both for guys. Terence Crawford and David Benavidez. Frank Sanchez versus Jarrell Anderson would be a fan-friendly fight. Yeah. Adekola Adams. Benavidez looked worse. He, for a man that's been out for about 3 years, Crawford waits for you to make a move. He's more of a counterpuncher. Unfortunately, his opponent was moving a lot. Well, you know what? That makes a lot of sense, though. You do have to take into account that Volchnik did retire. See, he retired after he lost to Beterbiev. Beterbiev retired that boy temporarily. And it wasn't because he wasn't good, he wasn't fast, he wasn't a good boxer, he wasn't technically sound. No, Beterbiev just beat him up. He just took him to school, battered him, busted him up, and he couldn't take that punch. And he couldn't take the punching power, or he couldn't take the pressure, from the punching power. He couldn't take that onslaught. He just could not take it. That's what makes Beterbiev so intense, because I think, honestly, Beterbiev punching power, he could fight someone like, what's the guy's name? Is it Yoka? No, not Yoka. What's the guy's name up there? The New Zealand kid. What's the New Zealand kid's name? What's that New Zealand kid's name? AJ would destroy Miller. I don't know if AJ would, because look, I've seen Danny Dubois and Miller. I've seen Dubois and Miller, and then you take Anthony Joshua in there. I think that fight would be stopped. I don't think Miller would just get knocked out cold. I would be impressed if AJ could do it. Jai Apataya, thank you guys. Not Junior Fa. No, Junior Fa is out. He's done. Junior Fa is out. Jai Apataya, Jai Apataya. I could see Beterbiev fighting Jai Apataya and having one hell of a fight with Jai Apataya and still be able to hold his own, because guys like Beterbiev hit so hard in the way he punches. Those type of punches coming from those lightweights like Beterbiev are the same type of punches that would hurt heavyweights. I think it's kind of a standard punching power. I don't think it's like, it's good for, like David Benavidez. David Benavidez's punching power is good for 168. But is it incredible or great at 168? But how is it really at 175? It's okay. Beterbiev's punching power is more like a standard, like, yo, that dude punches hard anyway. You can ask that dude at 220, or you can ask that man here at 190 or at 175. He punches hard as shit. You know what I mean? I think it's pretty much, dude, he punches hard for any weight class. Beterbiev, bro, I think he's the truth. I don't give a shit if he's 39. I think he's been doing this so long, he knows how to do it. He's like an old savage that does not know defeat. He does not know surrender. He does not know retreat. And he can be hurt. I've seen him hurt. I've seen him hurt in fights. But I think that's what makes him dangerous. Someone leaving with brain problems. Oh, my God. Yeah, definitely. See, Beterbiev is the bear from the Revenant. Yeah, man, I remember seeing that, man. I seen that with my girl, man. We watched the Revenant. Yeah, good close friend of mine. We seen that movie. Dude, that movie was like an hour too long. I mean, good movie, don't get me wrong. But, you know, I just think that definitely it was a, yeah, that dude jacked him up, bro. Beterbiev versus Apataya would be a very good fight. Beterbiev is big enough to move to cruiserweight. And see, the thing is not just being big enough. Yeah, see, Beterbiev is what, 6 foot tall? He's 6 foot. I think Bivol's 6'2". I think, here's my thing. I think that Beterbiev has a different, like, I think he has another agenda. And what do I mean by that? I mean, Beterbiev has been talking about Alexander Usyk. If Alexander Usyk fucks around and comes to like, if he beats Tyson, then he comes down there to cruiserweight, Beterbiev will go up. He will ask Turki Alalshikh, give me the fight with him. I've destroyed Bivol for you. I want that fight with Usyk because I know I can beat him. I know how to beat him. I've dropped him before. I've put him down before. I've made Alexander Usyk wincing pain on the ground. I've done that to Alexander Usyk. Give me that fight, Turki, your excellency. Alhamdulillah. Yep. Just remember, in the warrior code, there's no surrender. When his body says stop, his spirit cries never. Beterbiev is just a cruiserweight that can make a weight. Now, that may be true. And maybe Turki knows that because, you know, Turki was talking about Jai Apataya versus the winner. But see, David Benavidez came in there. You know? Yeah, Beterbiev versus Usyk, big drama show. You know, both those guys same age. No, actually, Beterbiev is older. So, you know, like, dude, I love boxing, bro. Boxing is the sport that I love that I hate so much because you have so many endless possibilities of things that could happen and fights that could be made and people. We just need to be creative in who we think should have fights. Boxing could be one of the biggest, best sports that we bring back. Al Heyman had an idea. He just didn't carp on it because he spent all the damn money on Floyd's ass. You know, if he would have kept the Fox, Channel 3, free TV, and gave ratings, and people fell in love with the sport of boxing, and they showed up at events, yeah, boxing would have been in a whole different lane of its own. I get Carbajal as the dark horse in the heavyweight division. He goes for the body, and he breaks his man down. A man that's that big, not looking for a perfect headshot, is a dangerous man. Yeah. Yeah. Carbajal is dude, he's a hell of a fighter. He's a sturdy bastard too. And he knows how to use his leg. Look what he did to Frank. And Frank, it comes from that Cuban school, bro. Now, if I'm Frank, I would take Anderson. If I could take Anderson, if he can beat Anderson, I would ask for a rematch. Give me that Carbajal rematch, especially if Turki is not really doing anything with Carbajal. You know what I mean? Because I haven't heard anything from Carbajal. Who is he fighting? But, I mean, it goes back to bad promotional or not being in that premier support from a good promotional company that will get you the fights that you need from someone that we know. He may fight somebody, but it ain't no one nearly as on the cards that he's used to. But see, here's the thing. Think about Carbajal now. He's taken out Frank Sanchez, undefeated. He's taken out Arslan Makhmadov, undefeated. Think about the money that he's probably made. He's probably got a couple M's that he's probably never had. Since he's never had that money, he's probably sitting around saying, you know what, I did it, hallelujah. Boxing news comes and goes so fast. Whatever happened to Leonard Ellerbe? Leonard Ellerbe stepped down. You know, he's somewhere shaving his nose. He's gone, man. He's gone. That's what happened to him. Yeah, he's somewhere looking at that nose. Yeah, but I mean, Leonard Ellerbe's a millionaire. He doesn't have to worry about money. So, I mean, at some point, him and Floyd fell out, and that's that. And there's nothing you can do about it. Iga Barabucci versus Vitaly Klitschko. No. Because, see, Vitaly was that aggressive Klitschko. You know? Vitaly was a little meaner than Vlad. Vlad just needed you to be at a certain position, or he wanted you to stay where he could hit you. To be fair, that was both, but Vitaly went for the gusto. At Kurt, prime Oscar versus Bud. That's a damn good fight. Oscar De La Hoya at 154 versus Floyd. I mean, Crawford. I don't know, because see, Crawford. One thing about Crawford got hit more than Floyd did. That's the thing. Floyd was a little bit more athletic than Bud in certain ways, especially when his pivot. I think Crawford's stronger overall, because I think Crawford's a stronger guy, but he gets hit too. But he takes more chances than someone like Pretty Boy, especially the Pretty Boy that is Terrence's age now. You know? Sweet Pea versus Tank. Decision. I think that fight will be a decision fight, because I don't see Tank slicker. I don't see Tank slicker than him. I think Tank's more athletic than Sweet Pea Whitaker, but I don't think he's slicker. And because he's not slicker, he would have to hurt Pernell Whitaker with something. And we've seen Whitaker hurt before. I've seen him hurt against like Dale Bailey's Hurtado, when Dale Bailey's, was putting him down with his awkward swinging ass. Dale Bailey's Hurtado was this Cuban fighter that he fought Arcelino Freitas. He fought a lot of guys, and that was a good fight. I was thinking how I would have loved to see Bud, those 90 guys like Oscar Mosley and Vernon Farr. Man, those were some beasts back then. And see, yeah, those would be good fights, because you got guys like, see, here's the thing. I think Bud would have beat Sugar Shane, but might have not Oscar. We all know Oscar couldn't beat Sugar Shane Mosley, but I think that Bud would beat Mosley, but not Oscar. Then you had Fernando Vargas. Then you had Art Corte. You had all those guys back then, man. Usyk would have beaten Holyfield. Well, here's the thing. Based on what we've seen, see, wow, that almost was a doozy. I think maybe you're right, because I'm thinking about the opponents that Holyfield beat, and I think about the opponents that beat Holyfield. See, he couldn't handle anyone like Lennox Lewis. He was just too big. But Lennox Lewis, was a guy that, he was a big, strong guy. He was a little bit more athletic than someone like Anthony Joshua. But his ring IQ was better than someone like Anthony Joshua's. But he was a hard hitter like AJ. So Lennox Lewis could not only hurt you like AJ can now, but he was just more athletic and had better boxing ability. And he was a lot more aggressive. So Holyfield had to deal with that shit. Then he had to deal with big ass Riddick Bowe too. He had to deal with those dudes. You know, so you ask yourself, well, who did Usyk fight like that? Well, I mean, he just fought AJ. He fought AJ and guys heavy-handed like AJ and left hooks and right hands. And, you know, he was able to dip and slip. And I think he didn't fight like Holyfield. So it's kind of hard to say. But I can tell you this, what we do know and what I've learned about Usyk is Alexander Usyk has problems with smaller heavyweights. That's why I think guys like Beterbiev would give him problems. You know what I'm saying? I think Beterbiev would give Usyk problems because the elusiveness and the advantages that he would have from someone being bigger, you know, just like Manny Pacquiao had problems with who? Juan Manuel Marquez. Those guys that have those athletic abilities and they fight someone smaller, they no longer have those superb abilities no more. Okay? So guys like Juan Manuel Marquez versus Manny Pacquiao, he didn't really have that advantage. He was still good, but he wasn't that great. Okay? But Manny Pacquiao could do somebody like Oscar De La Hoya. He could piece him up. Why could he piece him up? Because Oscar De La Hoya, you know, he used his size. He was shorter than Oscar. He could get in and get out on Oscar, just like Usyk could do that to Tyson Fury. But guess what? Even if he did that to Tyson Fury, you know, could he do that to someone like Holyfield? You know? Yes, Lennox Lewis. I'd hate to fight Lennox Lewis, bro. You know, people hear me talk shit about Lennox Lewis, but if I seen him face to face, you know, he'd probably see me. He'd probably know who I am, especially if he'd be with somebody like Spencer. Hey, that's Cut DeVille. Oh, there's Cut. Hey, how you doing, you fucking prick? Hey, whoa. Yeah, I was been looking for you. Wait a minute, look. Stop, man. Been looking for you, you prick. Lennox Lewis would have killed Fury. He would have knocked Fury out. Because I don't know if Fury would have gave him something to hurt him. Because see, I think Fury would have been afraid of someone that hit hard like Lewis. You know what I mean? And so he would have reverted back to that dancing around Muhammad Ali impersonation. All right? And since he would have done that, Lennox Lewis would have eventually caught him and knocked him out. CJ Esperon in the building. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. I think Usyk beats Holyfield on points because I don't see either one of those headbutts getting KO'd. Hard heads getting KO'd. No. But, expect a headbutt, though. Because, Holyfield might come right in with his head on Usyk. Come right in on him, Lewis flatlines Fury, absolutely. You know what's funny, though? We didn't have that same perception before, did we? See, ever since we seen Usyk beat pretty much batter Tyson Fury, now we just can't see the idea of Lennox Lewis ever losing to someone like Tyson Fury other than from a knockout. Lewis was a cheat code fighter on Fight Night Champion. I love that movie, man. I mean, that movie. I love that game. Lennox Lewis would clean out the entire arena. I don't know. Somebody would get him, though. Somebody that you wouldn't expect to beat Lennox Lewis. Somebody in this era, because I think, and I believe in some of these heavyweights of today. Like probably someone like, he would beat Parker, yeah. Would he beat Usyk? He might have beat Usyk. I mean, but here's the thing. Lennox Lewis, I don't think would play with Usyk. I don't think he would try to box Usyk so much as try to knock him out. I think if he hurts Usyk, he would try to knock out Usyk. Because Usyk's one of those guys that He's like a mongoose. He's going to come in. He's going to make his way in. He's going to bob and weave in or step in, then bob and weave, move, slip, counter, then dip out. And someone like Lennox Lewis will be ready to counter him. He'll be trying to knock out Alexander Usyk. But I think that's the whole idea. I think people try to box Usyk and they find out that's not the best idea. You know, Zhang would probably be a hard fight for him, but Zhang, I don't know. I don't know, man. Look, I would love to see Lennox fight right now. Reincarnate Lennox Lewis to age 35. Put him in this era of boxing right now. If he wants to test, I'll put him to rest. If Roy Jones fought Lennox Lewis, who you got? Lewis will knock out Roy. He would knock him out because he would catch him. And then see what we known about Roy. Roy has a limit. Roy has a ceiling. Not as far as athletic ability or skill or any of that shit. No. I mean, he has a chin limit, damn it. If you hit Roy showed you, it's a snooze button on Roy Jones. Unfortunately, we had to see him come down to see it. Now this could be a theory. Maybe we would have never seen it if he would have never went back down. But eventually somebody would have caught Roy and knocked him out. You know what I mean? Because I don't see it. But hey, we said the same thing about Usyk now, didn't we? I just think it was a mistake for Roy to go back to 175. I think it was stupid. I think it was dumb, him doing that. But that's him. Lennox is boring and definitely not as athletic as AJ. If he can lose to Rahman, he can lose to any of the heavyweights around now. He's not invincible. Adekola Adams, let me tell you something. Hasim Rahman was 6'4", 250 pounds. He had the punching power to shut out your lights. He got caught by one of those punches that shut out your lights. I don't think that, because look what Lennox did to that man right the next fight. You know you got lucky, right? In the next fight, he knocked him out in 4. No. Lennox Lewis just did that damn movie, Ocean's 11, and he was distracted, yeah. And then he didn't train like he's supposed to, yeah. He didn't take it seriously, and he got caught. That's all. It happens to everybody. He just showed you. Lennox Lewis has avenged every loss that he's ever been in. He's only lost twice. So no, I don't buy that. Because he fought a guy that could actually catch him, a guy that's his height. Mike Tyson wasn't that height. David Tua wasn't that height. Chris Bird wasn't that height. He never fought Chris Bird anyway. Yeah, Rahman could bench 400 pounds. That motherfucker was strong. Why do you think they call him The Rock? And this was before the Dwayne Johnson. Come on now. You got to give Lennox Lewis some credit, man. Lennox Lewis was an absolute monster. And listen, I didn't like him. So I'm not saying that because I was a Lennox Lewis fan. No, I just give that man his props because he was a bad mother sucker. That's it. I used to hate to say that, but understand, we grow as we go, as we know. Bars. Usyk versus James Toney. Style matchup from hell. Why? Philly shell versus Eastern European style. I don't know. At heavyweight, because James Toney was also a heavyweight. He stopped Evander Holyfield with a body shot. I mean, an older Holyfield, to be fair, but Holyfield was just trying to keep the lights on at his house. Hell, he was probably just trying to keep his house because child support came knocking at his door because, Holyfield was doing a lot of unholy slamming. Holyfield had chicks everywhere. That's what Lennox Lewis he called himself Holyfield. He calls himself holy, and he has all these babies out of wedlock. I don't know what you're talking about, Evander. Lennox, to me, was overrated. You think Ike beats Lennox? He could have. But then here's the thing. Ike let's just call it what it is. Fantasy-wise, Ike was there. He was there. And because of where he was mentally, he was not able to compete with these guys. Okay? He had his opportunity mentally. He was just not there. So, you know, McCall, Oliver McCall was another guy that was very, very talented, but mentally he just, I don't know where he is. My heart goes out to him. I hope he's fine. I hope he's okay. I hope he got some mental help. But he wasn't there. I mean, no. I hear about Ike Barabucci. I respect the man. He was a savage. He was a legend in his own right. He was the baddest motherfucker that was never. That's how I look at Ike Barabucci. He was the baddest ass fighter that was never. Ike would have stopped Lennox. He probably would have. He probably would have stopped Lennox. But then again, we'll never know. He probably would have whooped Tyson. He beat Tua. Him and Tua fought. Him and David Tua fought, and they landed the most punches ever in a 12-round fight. Ever in a 12-round fight. McCall had a great chin. Oliver McCall had a bad drug problem. Yes, he had a bad drug problem. Man, that was probably the most pitifulest fight I ever seen in my life. The rematch between Oliver McCall and Lennox Lewis. Oliver McCall, bro, didn't even want to fight no more. And I think what it was, he was coming down off of whatever the hell he was on. You know what I mean? He just wasn't there. He was just, I was like, what's wrong with this dude? What's wrong with this guy? Kurt, what do you think about the prospect Moses Atoma? He's all right. Moses Atoma reminds me of somebody that's, he's quiet, which makes him dangerous because he's real quiet. Why wouldn't I fight these guys? Why wouldn't I? He's one of them dudes, yeah, he'll probably, he's one of those guys that's quiet as hell, he's the quietest guy in the room, but he'll be that guy that knock you to spark out. Lennox Lewis was too much of a gentleman. No, I don't think so, bro. I don't know where you get that shit from. Not saying that he didn't have manners, but calling him a gentleman? Bro, Lennox Lewis was a prick. The way he talked about fighters and the way I would have beat him easy. What are you talking about? I would have beat Vitali. They saved him, man. They saved his eye. Oh, you call David Tua's left hook? You think that's the left hook? Oh, man, that's no left hook. Nah, dude, he wasn't, no. He was a dry jerk. If Mike Tyson wants to test, I'll put him to rest. Come on, dude. Tuna, to this day. Yeah. One thing, man, I miss Deontay Wilder, man. I miss Wilder as a fighter. I miss that crazy ass Alabama slammer, in your face spirit, man. I miss that guy, you know? And I'll say this in closing about Deontay Wilder. If Deontay Wilder's relationship with that last lady that he was with broke his will, got him on ayahuasca, and it wasn't Tyson Fury, then goddamn her. Because she has just broken one hell of a guy that was a charismatic guy that could sell with character, and his name was Deontay Wilder. Wilder had the wrong trainer. Wilder versus Usyk is a crazy fight. I got Usyk by KO, though. And nobody thought that until we found out Usyk could actually punch. So, it's funny how these fights make people change their mind, isn't it? That's crazy. Lewis ran away from Vitali, so he retired. He ran away from the rematch, but then he already said that he would retire after that fight. So to be fair, credit to Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis said, hey, listen, this is going to be my last fight. So, I mean, for one, you have to give Lennox Lewis credit for even taking that damn fight. He didn't do what Money Mayweather did. Money Mayweather fought fucking Andre Berto and got out of Dodge. Somebody that lost 4. Why didn't you fight the guy that was undefeated? Why didn't you fight the guy that was your mandatory? Why didn't you fight the guy that actually called you out? Why didn't you fight that guy? No, I ain't want to fight that guy. Because, see, a guy like that, Keith Thurman, in that time, Keith Thurman would probably beat the shit out of Floyd. And Floyd knew it. And Floyd was like, nah, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. Nope. I still believe Wilder could sleep anybody if that don't stop his right hand. If they don't stop his right hand. That could have been. Wilder made boxing exciting. Yeah, he did. He did make boxing exciting. I miss the man. I'm not going to lie. You know, you don't hear nothing about Wilder no more. Malik Scott slamming Michelle, whatever her name is. You know, she's hot though. Good for you, brother. I would have liked to see Fury versus Vitali. Wilder can't fight backing up, so you just have to back him up, modern day shavers. I'm happy Wilder never fought AJ. His soul could have been knocked to oblivion. Well, see, here's the thing, though. At least, to say the least, Deontay Wilder has his legacy. He has his own statue. You know, I think he's happy with his career. You know, he was a WBC heavyweight champion for 5 years. He's never fought for any of the other belts, but he did what he did in the sport. And I don't think he's over. I think he makes, I think the money is too good for him, you know, especially if someone's offering him a fight. You know what I mean? Now that Anderson has been beat, you never know how Turkey will be thinking and be taking that, you know. Now, he did get knocked out, so that was kind of like the second time. Maybe Turkey don't want to see him again, so that might not be the right route, but maybe Al Heyman may find him and say, you know what? Look, let's get another fight with Miller or someone like that, you know. Zhang ate Wilder's right hand, though. He did. Did Wilder's album ever come out? You know what? I don't think anyone cares now. You know what I mean? It's almost the same when Mike Tyson, if you guys can remember, if you guys were around, which I think you were, I think you guys are about my age. If you guys remember when Mike Tyson fought Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson had a video game that he just came out with. It had 2 on there and it had a lot of other heavyweights, but he got his ass whooped, so nobody wanted it. I think that's how that song or album is at Wilder. Wilder got his ass whooped, so nobody really cared on how his music looked because his primary job didn't fall through. See, one thing about any of those, like Triple G with Jordan, remember? Triple G started getting beat, so him and Jordan's relationship doesn't really stay. He just got to keep winning. The same with anything that you're promoting. You have to be you have to stay consistently winning and keep that positive image to keep winning, so people can see you in a certain light, so they'll want to buy that shit. Yeah, he's with Kate Abdul. That's her name. Bad. I'm thinking, how did this tattooed mother sucker get her? Hey, you know, women like bad boys, isn't it? I know the Helenius KO was legit because after it seems like Wilder legit thought his right hand was magic and all he had to do was just wave it around and win the fight. Yep, that's what caused them fights against people that actually could take punches or that were prepared for that right hand. See, if people know, hey, this guy has a dangerous right hand, they know that they got to be in there, they got to do what they need to do. That's what happens. That's what Joseph Parker did. Joseph Parker beat him up, man. The only thing bad about Malik Scott is his ability to train fighter. Man, it's crazy. But man, this has been a good live stream. I'm going to jump off of here. We've been here an hour and 45 minutes. I was glad I was able to reach out and communicate with you guys. Again, I'm trying to do more live streams. Let's get to 100,000 subscribers. That's the goal for this year anyway. You know what I mean? But we have more content coming to you guys soon. Be blessed. Enjoy your Friday. Coming into this Friday. Be careful. And everyone has been counterpunched. Peace.